This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Hey everybody, welcome to the WWE Podcast. Time for the mailbag here on this Wednesday, May 8th, 2024. Let's jump right in. Let's start with those patrons. You guys know you get priority. Let's start with DJ Kuzmo. It's been a while since I've started with you, DJ. So let's do it. And he says, hello, WWE and AEW Podcast Worlds. DJ Kuzmo back at it again. Was this really the best crowd in WWE PLE history? Because from Friday Night SmackDown to Backlash on Saturday, this crowd in Lyon, France was absolutely loud. Louder than I have ever heard a crowd. No offense to the Puerto Rican crowd last year for Backlash, but this crowd in Lyon, France was the MVP of the entire weekend. Hopefully Backlash in Lyon, France becomes an annual tradition every year, kind of similar to what AEW does every year in Chicago for All In and Vegas for Double or Nothing. Speaking of Vegas, was there ever a doubt that WrestleMania 41 was going to be in Las Vegas? Because it seemed obvious to me and a no-brainer to have a city like Vegas host a WrestleMania. However, I don't think the Vegas crowd will ever come close to the loudest crowd I've ever heard from Lyon, France for Backlash. Lastly, speaking of Backlash in France, did anyone have on their bingo card or prediction sheet that Tama Tonga's brother, Tangaloa, was going to debut? Because I thought Jacob Fatu would debut instead. Anyway, another new member joins Solo's Rogue Bloodline as this Bloodline saga continues, and hopefully it leads back to The Rock being the leader of the group and a reunion of sorts for Roman, Jay, and Jimmy post SummerSlam, leading to Survivor Series War Games later this year. I know, I'm booking 6 months from now, Saturday, November 30th, host city to be announced. Anyway, have a great weekend. See y'all in the Discord chat for Friday Night SmackDown. All right, so thanks, DJ. Of course, greatest crowd in history is a subjective term. I see why many people feel that they were the greatest crowd, that they gave the crowd a lot of props, and I did too. I gave them props for their energy throughout. The sustained energy for 3 hours is just really inhuman, and they brought it. They certainly added to the show at times. Were they the loudest crowd I've ever heard? They're up there. They are up there for sure. For me, the chanting, the constant chanting, and the constant need to hear themselves sing their songs that they sing at sporting events became a distraction throughout the show. At first, it was endearing. It was wow. It was, oh my God, this may be the biggest and best crowd ever. And then as the show went on, I found myself getting annoyed with the crowd. Just simply because I wanted to enjoy the wrestling and not have to sit there and wonder what the hell they're chanting. That's just me. Just me. I felt that listening to the crowd was a little much as the show went on. And I'm just like, sitting there going, this is, it's annoying. It's annoying because especially when you don't understand what they're chanting, it becomes double annoying. But I totally appreciate the energy they brought, and they are certainly one of the loudest crowds WWE's ever had. So loudest, does that equal automatically greatest? I'll leave that up to you to decide. But as far as WrestleMania 41 in Vegas, hey, what better city to do it in? I know that Minneapolis was close from what I understand, but Vegas, come on. The cities have to bid on it, though. It's not just WWE handpicking where they want to go. These cities bid on this opportunity. They put a proposal together. They try to sell WWE on why they should come to their city for WrestleMania. Logistics, how much money they can bring in to the event, their population, their demographics. It's a whole thing. People just think, oh, WWE's going to choose to go here, and the city's like, yeah, cool, no problem. Like, there's a lot that goes into it, and I think Vegas can absolutely host a WrestleMania. It's going to be insane, right? Vegas in April, which is like April 20th or 22nd. So it should be a lot of fun. But the Tama Tonga and Tangaloa. It's going to be a lot of fun. And yes, Jacob Fatu's coming. I think he's going to be a massive impact. And then you have The Rock as the leader of that group. And you have Roman likely leading a reunited Jimmy and Jay. And they'll have to find a fourth person to kind of even things out. But no, I don't think even though it's 6 months from now, DJ, I think you're on track. The Rock's probably not coming back till SummerSlam. And then you're only a few months from Survivor Series, so that's not crazy. We're already seeing the foundation for it being laid right now. This is going to be so much fun with this Rogue Bloodline versus the OG Bloodline, or however they're going to market it and phrase it. With Roman's group being the babyface group, and you have, of course, Rock leading the Rogue Bloodline. And who could be that fourth member? I mean, what if Sami Zayn rejoins them? Put their differences aside. I mean, I know he's not a member by blood, so it kind of defeats the purpose of the name Bloodline, but he was a big factor in that group during that time. So what if Sami has a reuniting with Roman and with Jimmy and with Jay, and they decide to fight side by side against Rock's Rogue Bloodline at Survivor Series? Ooh, I'm getting chills. Seriously. This is already it's already masterfully crafted and hasn't even been executed yet. So I guess I'm jumping the gun a little bit. All right, let's go. Let's go to another patron. Let's go to Matt, and he says, I completely agree with your take on the French crowd. As cool as it was at first, it definitely kind of took me out of the moment. I know I'm in the minority, but I'm getting tired of Jey Uso. He's called main event, but every time he's in the main event, he loses. Also, though he's good in the ring, he does the same few moves: super kick, suicide dive, Uso splash, a weak spear. If it wasn't for the yeet chant and a cool entrance, I think people would see that. Can you also say the same about Cody and his entrance? What's your take? Thank you, and have a good rest of your week. Thanks, Matt. And Cody, I think, would lose if his entrance wasn't so captivating and his music wasn't so catchy and his, everything about his entrance, his aura wasn't what it is. I don't know if he'd be where he is right now. That's not to say he's an entrance-only guy. Clearly not. I also think that Cody has a more diverse arsenal in his wrestling bag of tricks, so to speak. But I think what would help Jay is stop using the super kick. I think what would help professional wrestling just as a whole is stop using the super kick, i.e. sweet chin music. That's what it is. Once upon a time, it was a finish. And you know what? It should be a finish. How is it not a finish? That's why Shawn Michaels used it as that. Think about what it's doing. Imagine getting kicked in the jaw. It's a knockout shot. At the very least, busted jaw, broken teeth. I mean, and everyone just sells it like they just get knocked down from a shove. I mean, I could go into a whole tirade about the lack of selling generally among wrestling. I mean, I love professional wrestling, but the lack of selling as a whole is it's an industry-wide problem, not just WWE. It's AEW. It's, of course, NXT. It's New Japan. I mean, everywhere. The lack of selling is a problem. I mean, like this, you could hit somebody in the head with a super kick, or hit him with a clothesline, or a shoulder tackle, and they sell it the same. They both get knocked down, and then they don't sell where they actually got hit to show the pain that move inflicted. They just move on as if every move just is wears them down. It's about just being out of breath. Every move is just about being out of breath. It's not about like actually targeting a body part normally and focusing on that body part, selling that body part. I mean, I don't know. Do you see what I mean? Like at the end of every match, there could be 40 super kicks. And that person is totally fine. No bruising. And I'm not asking for actual kicks to be thrown or bruises to be inflicted. I'm not asking for that. But it's a massive exposure of the business when you could have a chain wrestling match with no strikes or a brawl and both losers and winners, come out looking the same. They're just out of breath. Do you see what I'm saying? Sorry, Matt, you sent me down a rabbit hole. But I think Jey Uso, while he calls himself main event Jey Uso, I made this concern up front right when he came up with the name. I said that this is a cool name, but I said the problem is going to be when you're not in the main event, or like you're seeing right now, he's in the main event and loses consistently, where it's almost a parody because you're calling yourself main event. You're anything but main event right now. Yeah, I mean, however, Jay is super over. I mean, he's over, and the Yeet movement and all that. You could say the same thing though about LA Knight if he didn't have the yeah movement, the Yeet movement, the yes movement with Daniel Bryan. I mean, you could go down the list with all these like catchphrases and one word in marketing. I don't want to call them schemes, but kind of just those very superficial connections with the crowd. Are they deeper? Do they mean more? Yeah, you could really dive into every one of those scenarios. With Jay, I think that's deeper. I think the fans genuinely feel a connection for him, though. Let's go to another patron. This is Hungry Pup. He says, we have a lot to be excited about these days. I feel like we continue to see some exciting in-ring wrestling. Backlash was a lot of fun, with many more highs than lows. Here are the highs. AJ's phenomenal in-ring work. The crowd's energy, bringing excitement to the mid-card supplement. I don't know how to pronounce. This is so sad. DEUX, only 2. I don't know what that even means. Don't know. I'm gonna pronounce it, and then I'm gonna embarrass myself. So I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm just gonna leave it as what I spelled it as. I have no clue what that means. Women's triple threat stealing the show. High tension street fight featuring the rise of the new bloodline. I would agree with all that. Again, I don't know what supplement DEUX is. No clue. But the crowd's energy, I would agree. AJ Styles shows you that he is constantly and forever, at least until further notice, a perennial main eventer and world-class athlete. The women's triple threat was pretty damn good. And you know what I also think stole the show in a way that no one's really talking about is the women's tag team titles with Jade and Bianca. Jade finally arrived. And all the concern about her, very limited in-ring action has been subsided. She's shown us she can go. The lows and unpopular opinions. Kairi Sane and Jade's final sequence. So KS jumps on Jade's back, Kairi Sane, and carried Jade through the ending. Jade wins low point of the night. Okay, hey. That's, I have no issue with you having a dissenting opinion to mine. None. Cool. That's why you love what you love. I love what I love. All fans have their own things. No problem there. Number 2, Jey Uso continues to bore me in the ring. Priest does great work, but this match wins underachiever of the night due to the repetitive nature of Jay's in-ring behavior. His character needs a new moveset. It's like my 6-year-old created him on 2K24. Side note, Ricochet wins best performance in ring on Monday night. It's a shame his character isn't interesting because he does a great job keeping me from fast forwarding. So, yeah, I mean, this seems to be a trend now with Jey Uso being boring or feeling like he may not be over if it wasn't for his Yeet stuff. But now, I would say that Jey Uso is a future world champion. Does he need a little in-ring variety? Yes. And again, here's what I think is the hilarious part is I think it would be addition by subtraction in the ring. I don't even know if he needs to add more moves. I think maybe he just needs to take away the super kick. If he took that away, it would actually feel like he added other moves because you wouldn't be focusing on the super kick so much and realize he does other stuff. So I think if he just simply eliminated the super kick, which I'm in all favor for, I would all rise, as they say, for that one. If he did that, I think it would feel like he's adding maneuvers and different moves to his arsenal. And as far as Ricochet, again, on a personal level, I think he's kind of a entitled, fragile D-bag. I do. I just think he's a very much feels like he's an entitled. I'll leave it there. But from a professional level, yeah, he can go in the ring like no one else. He can go in the ring. Absolutely. The things he does in the ring, I've seen very few people do what he can do. He's young-ish. He can go like crazy. But here's the thing. Even if he finds his personality, his in-ring style, he will have to modify for longevity and safety. He cannot continue to do what he's doing for a long period of time. It's high risk, higher than need be, and eventually something's going to happen. I'm not going to say he's going to die, but you could have injury after injury, sprained ankle, torn meniscus, torn tricep, dislocated shoulder. I mean, you are running the risk of injury after injury after injury and more taxing on your body than needed. But if he finds a personality, he could be a bigger star than he is right now. No question about it. They just don't give him a ton of mic time. They did give him a little bit this week, but he needs mic time. He needs character development. And there's got to be I think there's something there besides being a fragile, entitled D-bag, which I think is what he is. So let's go to, let's see. Let's go to Dino. He said, it's Dino from Scotland. Am I the only one from Scotland listening to the podcast? I'd like to put out an appeal to anyone else listening in from Scotland. Please come forward. Just send an email to this show at mailbag@wwepodcast.com or hit me up in the Discord chat at Dino, Deano, from Scotland. If you're out there, let's connect and get a buzz. Hey, I mean, I know that there are people from Scotland that listen to the show. There's multiple. I don't know who they are. You're not the only one, but you got to remember, Dino, most people that listen to podcasts, the vast majority don't connect with the show. They just listen in behind their wall of privacy, and that's fine. I do the same thing. So I would say like 98% of the people that listen to the show don't come forward and email us, and I'm not asking them to. Yeah, so I don't know if I know there's other ones out there from Scotland for sure. All right, so Backlash. You thought it was okay for a B show. I couldn't stop cringing half the time during Jade, Bianca, and the tag team match with the botches and all. I had no appetite for the main event between Cody and AJ. I only watched the show till the end because of the crowd, if I'm being honest. So I'm really hoping we don't get this matchup again because once is enough for myself. I laughed during your Backlash review when you started complaining about the crowd. You seemed like a hard man to please. Oh, hey, I'm not difficult to please. Again, I would take this crowd over a quiet crowd. Absolutely. My only complaint, and I guess that is what it is for the first time ever in my wrestling viewing career, I got annoyed by a crowd that was too loud because the chants I couldn't understand, which was half of the problem and annoying. And also it's just, I want the crowd to just shut up so we can enjoy the show. Now that may sound like, oh my God, you have a crowd that's too loud, but then they're too quiet, right? And, there's no pleasing you. But there's extremes. There's extremes where the crowd is taking so much for themselves and singing and jumping and doing all these things that feel very self-serving that it's a distraction from what's actually going on in the ring. And then there's, of course, the crowds like you have, and we have seen many U.S. crowds that are just church mouse quiet, and it's embarrassing and it's terrible and it's no fun. But in that in between, the other 95% of crowds I love it. So I thought the crowd was amazing and really added to the show and probably made the show what it was, to be honest. And I can't help but feel like if this was in the U.S., it would have been a lame-ass B pay-per-view. So well done, France. You guys really make a great case for yourselves for a stadium show over there. I remember a few weeks back when you said that they've done televised shows internationally all the time, that the novelty would wear off and it would eventually end up like American crowds because we would end up getting used to these shows all the time. This isn't true because there isn't a whole world out there, or there's a whole world out there. And in Europe alone, there are over 800 cities, and that's before you even take the rest of the world into consideration. I mean, I still think, though, with human nature, it may not be as quiet as the US crowds you hear at times, but people are still people. You can't take human nature away from humans. And I think that if WWE was to make their regular rounds, like they were there like every few months, right? Like they do like 4 or 5, they start doing half the PLEs overseas. You would see a slow tick downward, especially if they would go into repeat cities of the crowd reaction. You would start to hear the crowd slowly level off. I really do believe that. I'm not saying they would be as quiet as some of the US crowds and be as embarrassing as we are, but I think just with human nature, they would quiet to some degree. All right, I have an idea for Becky Lynch. To freshen things up, she should change her gimmick to the Irish ass kicker. No. We don't say ass, we say lass kicker. See what I did there? And dye her hair from orange to green, thus giving her a fresh lick of paint, which in turn gets people's interest levels in her character back up. It's a pity she's never done this for her return a couple of weeks ago, as I would have loved to have seen this. The man gimmick for me is becoming stale and boring. I would absolutely second you with the latter part of this. The man gimmick is done. It's over with. It's, to me, it's rehashing 2018 over and over and over and over and over. And I'm over it too. You can hear the crowd start to get a little bit restless with her. They aren't in love with her like they were 5 years ago. It's just a lack of evolution. She tried the heel thing, and maybe she could try it again in some kind of different way. But I don't know if doing the Irish ass kicker and dyeing her hair from orange to green, maybe. Here's what I would also say: change her music. Her music is iconic, but I think that if she's going to go into a different phase of her career, you could try something different with her music. Especially if you're turning her heel, because her current music is very much babyface music. It's fun to sing along. It's upbeat. It's got a great sound to it. But if you want to see something embarrassing with Becky, I mean, I feel like you're describing her very first debut in NXT. Go watch that. You want to feel embarrassing? You want to feel secondhand embarrassment? She had green tights on. She was doing the Irish jig. She was the stereotypical, Irish girl, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if there's a stereotypical Irish girl, but she took all of these stereotypes of Irish people outside of, chugging a pint of beer to the ring. And it was all awful. I mean, go watch it. It's hard to watch without feeling embarrassed yourself. But I agree. She needs to do something. Your idea isn't crazy, but I don't know if are you proposing turning her heel or what? Last, I've been listening to you getting annoyed at Drew and Sheamus using the word arse instead of ass. I can confirm that's what we say over here in Scotland and Ireland. Okay. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty certain that's the way they say it in the rest of the UK too here, so it's not saying arse to make ass sound more than what it is. In fact, they themselves probably don't even know or think that was that big of a deal. If any of them are listening to your podcast, it's genuinely how they say it and probably have in their entire lives. Okay, hey, I don't live there. So I'm glad that you let me know. It felt like they were just trying to purposefully censor themselves, which made no sense. They were also doing it at a time when cursing was still a big no-no on TV PG, where now it's been expanded very much so. So it felt like they were just, saying arse instead of ass. And I'm like, for me as a viewer, and most of WWE's fans are in North America, we say ass, right? Like most of WWE's fans that are their core audience, that's how they say it. And so when I hear arse, it's like, why are you mispronouncing it? It sounds like you're mispronouncing it, right? But if that's how they say it, that's how they say it. So it's good to know. Thanks, Dino. Let's go to Bad Fish. Short and sweet. Who or what do the winners of the King and Queen of the Ring win? Just the crown props or actually something of value? Well, in the past, it's just been usually a vehicle to turn somebody heel and, have a scepter for several months and wear the cape and the crown. And suddenly they're playing dress up every week. calling the crowd their subjects and speaking down to them, and they adopt an Irish accent or a British accent for some reason. And that's usually how it goes. And it's nothing more than just a quick gimmick change for whoever wins. And there's no real value. But with Triple H, Paul Levesque, maybe he has something in mind where it's more than just a gimmick character change for whoever wins for the men and women for a few months. And I hope that's the case. I do. Maybe it guarantees them a future title opportunity. Not like Money in the Bank, but rather just vaguely they'll get one, right? Something along those lines. Because if it's just a gimmick, I'm not here for it. So, thank you. Let's go to a new patron here. Let's go to, Mo K. And I'm assuming you're a guy. So he says, good morning. Yes, the crowd was popping, but this crowd was different. They didn't take over the show. I feel like they were supporting it and it showed their appreciation for stars like Randy and KO. When has Randy's song ever been sang like that? No, it's true. Yeah, they had passion. Absolutely. They did things that no other crowd has done. And absolutely. Again, very impressive crowd from an energy sustainability standpoint. It's incredible. It just, for me, as the show went on, it started to wear thin. That's all. I'm so happy Naomi got the reception she did. She's put a lot of effort into her entrance and ring gear. Yeah, she didn't get the biggest entrance. I would say out of the three women, she didn't exactly blow the roof off the place. But to me, I think there could be a Naomi heel turn coming. I think a Naomi heel turn would be a lot of fun and something different for her to do. Jade Cargill's a little green in the ring, but hopefully the other women and vets and Bianca supporting her can support her and she improves in her in-ring work. Am I the only one that felt like Jade actually overachieved? Maybe the bar for me was so low with Jade that I didn't notice that she was clunky. And there were some times I think that, as my memory serves me, she did have a couple moments that weren't the best, but I think she started to settle into herself and put on a better performance than I thought. I mean, at least from what I expected. And given what we saw previously of her doing, 3 moves and calling it a night, this to me was overachieving. But I myself am from the UK, but I wanted to stick up for the US crowd. Yes, you guys are generally quieter, but I think it's just a part of your culture. And there's nothing wrong with getting loud only for big spots and big stars. I just want to finish by saying, what? I don't know what you're saying. This is the second person who's saying UNDEUX, simplement DEUX. I love the 2 counts. Yeah, there was something there. Okay, what does this have to do with 2 counts? I'm very lost. Is this a different language? Are you guys punking me? What are you trying to get me to say something? I don't know what this is. I have no clue what this DEUX thing is. And I don't have the energy to Google it either because I'm just a lazy SOB. So somebody explain it to me next week. And I feel like I should know. I've never heard of that in my life. Okay. But no, I appreciate you sticking up for the U.S. crowd. It's kind of sad that somebody from a different country has to stick up for the country I'm in when I don't stick up for the crowd that I'm in, for the country I'm in. But again, not all the crowds are quiet here, but in comparison, compared to France, we are as quiet as gets. We're like, a crowd at a funeral. I mean, compared to France this past Saturday. So, it just also, like you said, it depends. It depends on the city here. It depends on the match. It depends on, of course, star power, which will always be the most important thing. So, yeah, I mean, it's different. It's just a part of the culture. It is. And that's what it is, just a cultural difference. Alrighty. Let's see. This is, and I'm not sure if this is meant for the mailbag, but I'm going to bring it anyway. This is a question I got. And it's from Fox and Squid. Is that like a show or something? And they said, A few years ago, Matt made a podcast about how he advertises the WWE podcast and what programs and apps he uses. Did he ever make a follow-up to that? I found it super helpful at the time. Do you happen to know if you have a link to it? I can't find it anymore. Thanks for everything you do. Oh, okay. I didn't know what this person was after until I read it aloud. So there was a time when I had kind of a side show that was about, I think was it the after show? I had like 3 episodes that I'm just like, yeah, I have no time for this. It was like the WWE podcast after show. And it was where I would, give tips and tricks for those that are looking to get into podcasting, of what I use, how I monetize, that kind of thing. Okay, got it. So maybe I'll dig that back up. Okay, because there's just too much to discuss on this show, and there was a time when I did share some of that information. So, all right. I don't even know if that person's listening to this, but let's move on. And patron Deanna says that I just wanted to say I had to mute my TV during the PLE because it was driving me nuts with the French crowd chants. Yeah, Deanna, hey, do you feel, I'm glad somebody's on my side here. You feel conflicted because you appreciate the energy. It's a crazy energy. But I think we've learned that just in principle, louder is not just always and forever better, because it depends on what they're chanting, why they're chanting, the timing, how much. It doesn't just have a graph that goes in infinity upwards of a graph of level of noise and happiness watching wrestling. And that graph isn't forever an eternal ascent upwards. I think we finally learned that for the first time I've been watching since 1997. So I don't know how many years that is. I don't know, like 27 years, I think. However long it's been. That's the first time I've experienced a crowd where it's like, okay, can you guys shut up? I love you, your passion. I appreciate it. But about halfway through the show, I'm like, all right, I get it. We've heard your Olay chant 40 times now. We get it. Okay. And whatever this 2 count chant is, we get it. Got it. Okay. We got it. The first 18 times. So there were moments I felt frustrated, but hey, if I had to choose between a quiet crowd and this crowd, I choose this crowd every time. All right. We've got the last patron here, and Shahar. She says, I want to discuss 2 things. About the crowd and Backlash, I totally agree with you on everything you said. What? I expected different. I thought for sure you would debate me, but okay. I thought they were loud, active, and enthusiastic as hell. I liked them at the beginning, but it all changed when the Undisputed Championship began. They pissed me the hell off. It's like they weren't interested anymore. They couldn't care less about the match. I couldn't concentrate. It took me out of the moment. I couldn't stop saying, shut the hell up. And I'm sorry, but I don't get the French singing. I promise you that if WWE comes to Israel sometime in the future, we won't start singing in Hebrew. Hey, Shahar, I echo your sentiments. It's a very weird place to be because I also am a co-fan with the French crowd. Like I'm from the United States. We have our own culture here. You're from Israel. You have your own culture there. The French have their own culture. We all share a passion for wrestling. However, our cultures deal with sports differently, react to sports differently. We all have different ways and mannerisms and things that we do that are traditional, right? From customs that are done at sporting events specifically, like to everything that you do in your life. Every country has its own. I think I've made my point. But we share a passion of wrestling, and I think that we're all annoyed because we are not engulfed in the culture of France and how they deal with sporting events and their chants. And most of us don't know French. I would imagine that's what they were speaking. But whatever language they were using, most of us didn't understand it. So we're sitting there going, okay, cool. All I hear is noise. and it's annoying. And you're hearing the same repetitive noise. And it just felt like, yeah, they were just worried about hearing themselves at times and not what's going on in the match. Not all the time, but a lot of the time it's just, do they even know what match is going on? Or are they just more worried about what cool, creative, witty chant they can come up with next? I did feel like that. So, okay, I'm going to hold you to that, Shahar. If they come to Israel and y'all start singing in Hebrew, I may have to get on a flight and have a discussion with you over there. That's not a threat, by the way. Okay. 2. About what Dakota Kai said on Raw. She said, quote, 2 years ago, we took out Becky Lynch. What the hell is she talking about? Damage Control didn't exist 2 years ago. They debuted at SummerSlam 2022 in August. At that event, Becky injured her shoulder in the match with Bianca. She returned at SmackDown before Survivor Series almost 4 months later. After that, she started feuding with Damage Control. It ended when she defeated Bayley in a steel cage with the help of Lita and Trish. When exactly did she take out Becky? Until next time, my friend. That's a good point. I heard that on Raw, and I just kind of took it at face value. I'm like, well, wait. I remember SummerSlam 2022. I remember Bayley coming back, bringing back Dakota Kai, bringing back Io Sky, or as then she was known, Io Shirai. I remember that, and I'm like, wait a minute. The math isn't mathing here. The numbers aren't computing. You're off by like a few months here. But I'm like, all right, well, fine. It was 2022. It's 2024. She's off by 3 months. And I was like, I'll let it go. Right? It's rounding a little bit, but close enough. But then you're right. She brings up the fact that she took out Becky 2 years ago. And I'm sitting there going, what are you talking about? I didn't even mention this, I don't think, on my Raw review. So I'm glad you brought it up. Because I was sitting there thinking too, like, wait, no, you took out Bianca. Eventually you got to Becky, but that wasn't 2 years ago. Becky was injured in the match, which set her back a long time. So yeah, like I think it was a flub or an oversight or thinking that, oh, Becky was in the match and we debuted nearly 2 years ago and Becky was injured, but it had nothing to do with damage. Like, yeah, this is a weird one. No doubt about it, Shahar. It was a weird comment to make. I don't know if it's going to really have any legs moving forward, if they're going to continue to focus on Becky or not, but good point. Very good point. All right. Let's see if we have any more emails. We're going to check it out. I don't think we do. I don't know if we, hold on a second. No, we've got Andrew from New Zealand. And this is our final email. He says, just thought I'd put in my 2 cents about Backlash. Jay versus Priest. Awesome match. But did we just see the start of Judgment Day imploding? I think the final straw will be at Clash at the Castle when Drew beats Priest because of a backfire interference from JD and Balor. Well, here's the thing. We've seen cracks form and then get fixed over and over and over in the Judgment Day. Eventually one of them is going to stick, and eventually this group's going to split. They've still got some legs, though. And there's still a story going on, a subplot story going on with Dom and with Liv and the returning impending Rhea Ripley return, that eventually she's going to feud with Liv, and there's a love triangle going on as Dom cheating on Rhea and all this, which is going to be fun. It's kind of a side story, but it's going to be fun. I mean, again, the further we get into this group's evolution, the better chance of them breaking up is. I mean, Finn Balor has been hidden for a while, that I think he hasn't got a chance to really shine as a single star in quite a while. And I think there is something that's coming. 2, I personally did not like Cargill. I found her stiff and awkward when performing moves. You just had to watch the flow between the others during the match, which was awesome. But when Cargill was in, I couldn't watch. It was so awkward and stiff. She needs a lot more time to be at the same level as Bianca. Well, I think here's the thing. Bianca Belair, as I've said over and over and over and over, is, I believe, on the women's side of things, the best pure athlete WWE has. So if you put her in the ring directly next to Jade Cargill, who's bigger, stronger, greener, and doesn't have the same fluidity as Bianca does, you're going to see those weaknesses a lot more glaringly, right? Because you're putting her in the ring. right next to one of the greatest that WWE has right now, the most athletic, one of the most athletic, athletically gifted women that they have in Bianca Belair. So, yeah, next to her, there is a big difference. But here's the thing. If you took Jade Cargill at the beginning of this women's revolution, and she had a match, you would be like, wow. You know, if this match happened where it was just, this tag team match happened, you would say, wow, this is a great effort from both women. Oh my God, right? If Jade Cargill had been at the beginning of this women's revolution, you would say she was a trailblazer. She's the one that helped lead the way, lead the women out of obscurity. But it's just because we have now seen what the women are capable of, and the bar has been raised, that you look at Jade and go, she does seem a little stiff, a little awkward, and it feels like she's not up to that bar. But it's only because the bar has been raised incredibly high. Again, you go back 5-6 years, you'd be like, she seems to fit right in. She's an athletic woman. She's got a great look. See how our standards change? Not a bad thing. But I think that's just a little perspective there. 3, just when the Bloodline story gets stale and not interesting, they revitalize it and make it watchable again. I can't wait for Roman and Rock to get back to see what happens next. I just hope that when WWE comes back to New Zealand one day, the one time they did come for a house show, it was awesome. No major stars were there except Taker. Cheers for everything you do, Andrew. Thanks for that, Andrew, and I hope you are enjoying your day. I'm sure they'll be back in New Zealand. WWE is on a global tear right now. I mean, it seems like half the PLEs are overseas, and that's great. They have a global strategy that they're implementing, and implementing very successfully. But as far as the Bloodline story goes, yeah, just when you're out, they pull you back in. Yeah, just when you think, I'm done with this, my God, they rope you back in, and it's incredible. The storytelling for the Bloodline story generally, since its inception, at times, while a little boring and a little repetitive, has been generally one of the most successful storylines WWE has ever produced in their company's history. One of. So, all right, enjoy it and enjoy New Zealand, Andrew. All righty. So that'll do it for the emails here. We might have, do I dare say, a couple. Wait, no. Sharon. See, Sharon, here's the deal. I almost missed you. Sharon. This is a quick email, and it's only because you're the only one that sends me the questions to my old email. So you're probably thinking to yourself, oh my God, he forgot. Almost. Very close, my friend. All right. So let's get to your emails very quickly, and then we'll get to maybe a voicemail or two and call it a night. All right, Sharon says, hi, Matt. How are you? Israel is still in a war, but be happy because WWE has great accomplishments all over the place. Look at this photo. Now we are going to glory and success for sure. All right, so let me look here. What is this photo? This photo is from Facebook on Dirt Sheet Radio. Okay, it says, Fightful reports Alicia Taylor is scheduled to begin ring announcing on the main roster imminently. Mike Rome will return to NXT, and for Alicia Taylor, she'll be on SmackDown. This will mean the main roster will have an all-black women ring announce team going forward for the first time. You know, Sharon, are you... Oh, my God. Okay. This is from Dirt Sheet Radio, and I'm going to take this at face value, okay? I have no idea who Alicia Taylor is. Should I? Maybe. Is she like a singer? She sounds like she'd be like a R&B singer, or I'm thinking of, I don't know. I can't think who I'm imagining here. But I'm trying to be a little bit cautious here in what I say. I have zero issue of who is announcing. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your beliefs are. I don't care what you look like. Here's what I care about. Here's the most important thing, and the one thing that I think companies, including WWE, and TKO, their parent company, and a lot of corporations in America have fallen off of and focused on is instead of doing a good job, that comes second. It's what do the people look like that are doing the job? That is the most important to them. And instead of worrying again about doing a good job and choosing the best people for the job, the focus has been, hey, we don't have enough white people, we don't have enough black people, we don't have enough brown people. Let's make sure that the look is better. We'll worry about the actual quality of their skills, secondary or tertiary. We're going to make sure that it's about filling a quota. Now, I'm not saying that Alicia Taylor is good or bad. I know nothing about her. She may be the best woman for the job. She really may be. And if she is, great. But if they have to make a point, if WWE has to make a point to tell you that it's the first black woman this or black woman that, and they continue to harp on it, it feels very much like a forced decision. Feels very much like they didn't choose based on merit, right? And that's not to say that, of course, now somebody just took that and said, you're saying black women can't get a job based on merit? No, I'm not. Absolutely not. What I'm saying is companies, and this is happening all over the country, now in WWE, here it comes, are choosing DEI. Okay, here it comes. That's the key word, right? There's the buzzword, but it's true. Over merit. All I want is the best people for the job. And if you tell me multiple times that, it's the first black this or black that, it tends to make me believe that those people you chose were not based solely on merit, because you're making it a point to make it a big deal. All right? So, especially when you take the white guy, Mike Rome, and shove him back to NXT, who I think does a great job. But for them to just be able to say that, we got the first ever all women black ring announce team. And suddenly we're supposed to be like, okay, cool, right? Like, just do a good job. Right? But it can't just be about merit anymore. It's not on merit. It seems like we're going backwards, folks. We're going backwards in hiring based on, how much melanin's in your skin. It's ridiculous. I just want the best people for the job. Take what they look like away. Look at their resume. Look at their qualifications. Are they the best person for the job? Yes or no? If they're not, you don't hire them. End of story. Case closed. Right? But that's not what's happening today. And again, I know nothing about Alicia Taylor. She may be the best ring announcer for the job, but in today's culture, it does make you kind of raise an eyebrow and go, oh, God, here we go, right? It just but then if you say anything against it, it's you're racist, right? So they set a trap. They set a trap for people like me who look at this and go, you start complaining about two black women? No, that's racist. And it's, again, it's the sin of noticing. It's the sin of noticing. I notice what they're doing, and that's the ultimate sin. You're supposed to just completely ignore it. So we'll see. And now I've gone off the deep end. Damn it, Sharon. Also, Dragunov is the real deal. The Man Dragon is the best wrestler in the business with Gunther. Please run now to see their matches in the NXT UK. They're outstanding. And in the end, I hope so much that the faction will appear at King of the Ring. It's going to be amazing. Now I will say something I never thought I'd say. I'm looking forward to King of the Ring. All hail King Dragunov. Hey, I think you may be onto something. Dragunov certainly impressed on Monday. He was certainly impressive. And his workout video was very impressive. And I think there is a big future for him and perfect guy to win a King of the Ring tournament. So thanks, Sharon. And thanks for, you're going to get me in trouble on this show, Sharon. You're going to get me in trouble. All for just saying I want people to be hired on merit and merit alone. That's it. I don't care. Hey, if 40 black women are more qualified than 40 white men. Hire all the black women. I don't care. Right? Good, great. I just want the best people to do the best job. That's all. But that's not enough today, right? It has to be done based on other factors, and then it's like, whatever. All right. Alrighty, so now that many of you think somehow I'm racist from that, because that's just how the culture is, and I was going to do voicemails. Doesn't look like we have any, so we're going to just kind of close the show and say thank you. If you guys want to call us, though, the number is in the notes of this show, and it's also, if you want to write it down or put it in your phone, 518-952-0247. And it'll cut you off after 3 minutes. No, I don't want you to send multiple voicemails. One voicemail will suffice per week if you'd like to participate and get your voice on the show. I would appreciate it, because we're going to try to get the voicemails in. I know that sometimes I don't, and I really want to be able to give everyone a voice, and you guys take the time to call in. I want to be able to give you that back. So if you want to go ad-free, by the way, you heard all those ads throughout the show. If you're not a patron, you heard ads throughout the show. Head on over to Patreon and get yourself an ad-free experience for just $1 a month, or you can even do a 1-week free trial. Check us out for a week. If you like it, stick with it. If not, cool. No commitments. You just bail and go back to the free feed. But if you like us, you get access to the Discord server that allows you to chat with other wrestling fans that are also patrons of the show. And you can even get access, if you go up in tier, to our exclusive After Dark show with Anthony DeMarco that drops every single week. And this week, we're actually going to try to do a co-show of After Dark together. So we'll be recording that on Friday later in the day. So that'll be exclusive for those of you on the SmackDown tier and above, if you're interested in joining there. Or you can head on over to Apple Podcasts and click that subscribe button there for an ad-free experience as well. All right, that'll do it for me tonight, guys. I'll talk to you in a couple days. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.